We're joined with Caleb again.
Yay.
Welcome back, Caleb.
Thank
We're
you.
going to talk about another song on the EP. It's called Gospel of Grace.
Tell us about it.
Out of all the songs on the EP, this is probably the hardest. I reckon, personally speaking. I think it was the one that took the longest to write, the longest to produce. Kind of weren't happy with it at every stage of the journey, and it all kind of clicked into place at the end.
Yes.
But it was hard work. It was a bit of
I
a.
feel like it was the one you guys moaned about the most. You wanted it to be like, oh, like you had to keep pushing.
Had to dig deep.
Yes.
Had to dig deep for this one. It's a song basically of testimony of the goodness of God
Yeah.
in our lives, but also that we don't just experience God's goodness and grace for ourselves. There's actually a call to share it with other people as
Yes.
well, and it's kind of this outward sense of, one of the lyrics is, I'm not ashamed, I'll sing every day your gospel of grace. And it's about sharing our testimonies and living our lives as a testimony to God's goodness. Acts chapter 20, verse 24 says, however, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace.
That's nice.
I love that. Paul's saying, I consider my life worth nothing except for finishing the race and testifying to the good news of God's grace.
It's kind of a journey the song takes us on, a bit of a journey. Starting in the morning, calling to mind. I love that lyric.
Yeah, well, it kicks off with this lyric which says, this I call to mind, you are faithful.
Like at the outset, we know what's happening. Like that's what I'm doing.
You are faithful.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a world where we can be so easily swayed, right? And things can pull our attention in one way and then in another way.
First thing in the morning, you're probably on Instagram. Let's be honest.
Yeah, maybe you've woken up, you've got your phone, you're scrolling through TikTok. And actually it's that sense of, this I call to mind, you're faithful. And that just cuts through
It does,
everything. And then the second half of that verse is, I don't doubt tomorrow's sunrise. So why would I doubt your mercy, Lord?
You love that line, right, Stu?
Well, I think, I think that's really comforting to me because I've lost count of how many times I've doubted God's mercy for me.
Yes.
But every time I go to bed at night, I don't doubt that morning's going to come.
Yeah.
And the Bible tells us that God's mercies are new every morning.
Good.
And I think that's just a real encouragement and reminder. That's me to myself of like, his mercy is new every single day. But as we said, it was a bit of a labor of love.
Especially the last verse, I would say.
The last verse, yeah. Tell us a bit about that.
It just took ages. I think we went back and forth on like lots of different kind of ways to write it, and I suppose you're thinking about the journey that the song takes us on. So it's obviously all centered around the chorus, which is like, this is my story, like I'm going to testify
Jesus,
to this,
you've
like
won me
Jesus, you
today.
are
Yeah.
incredible. But then I suppose the first verse is a little like, okay, I need to remind myself of like who you are and what you're doing in my life. And then the second verse is all about, I suppose it's proclaiming the generosity of God.
Yeah.
And it's that outward thing. So like, this isn't just for me, but you bless me to bless others. And so like, come on, like everyone.
There's room for us
There's
all.
room for us all. And then the third verse, it's like a real, like it looks back over your life. And I think it just kind of like all the noise disappears. Even in the song, like I think you've done that through the sound, and it kind of like all settles and you're thinking, okay, when I just meet Jesus face to face, like what's that going to be like? I think it's a really nice way to end the song.
And with the final breath that you give me, even that one last breath,
last
would
gift.
that still be a testimony to God's goodness and his gospel of grace? Caleb, you helped to produce this track. We've talked a little bit, it was a bit backwards and forwards. There's quite a lot to dig into. How many versions of this were there?
I think like version 10. No, I think the final version 11, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
It took a
Was
while.
it?
It was like 10, yeah.
It took a while. It was on a journey.
Very long journey.
How did you work on it? How did that go? What were you kind of thinking about with this song?
Yeah, I think, because I think this song, like what Stu sent me, was very different to what is actually out, and like so like I think Stu rewrote the lyrics. There was a new
just was never
chorus.
happy.
We had like a new.
I think the morning of recording, you rewrote.
I was writing lyrics.
You were writing.
Yeah,
Just
and
before
and I think even while we were recording, we were still like trying to figure out the drum groove, the production. It was like one of the most like, we're like, oh, this might go right. might really not go right. So I'm really glad how it turned out. But yeah, it was kind of like going like I think one thing Stu and I kept saying to each other, like, let's not give up on this song. Although we like every single time we're like, oh, this, and like again, it's like, and then like, and then I think I remember Stu and I was saying, okay, I think we need a break from this. And then we went away, came back again, like, and then went away again. Like, it was just like on and on and on. But I think I'm really glad that we kind of stuck it out, because like I think it kind of just taught us a lot about never giving up, even on like the 10th try where we're like, nope.
Yeah.
Not
perseverance.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad it turned out that way. Yeah.
Should we have a listen?
Yeah.
Let's listen to Gospel of Grace.
Father, you